She loved it, and my son was in the show, and he loved it. And it was just great to have them around me and not just to have them traveling with me.
Madonna has 6 children, but why does her bond with David Banda stand out? Is it his bold fashion sense, his confidence, or something deeper? Adopted from Malawi in 2006, David was only 1 year old when Madonna brought him into her world. Over the years, he has grown into more than just a star's son. He has become a style icon in his own right. What has his journey been like, and how is he honoring the legacy of one of music's most influential figures? David Banda's story is more than fame. It is a story of purpose and identity. Let's dive into it. Adoption of David Banda. This is the story of a 13-month-old African boy, of a father who, after burying his wife and 2 infant sons, took his only remaining child to an orphanage to give him a better chance of survival, of a pop singer determined to adopt a child from a country she had never visited, and of a government that, grateful for a promise of more than £1 million in aid, adjusted the rules to help her, turning the adoption into a global media storm. This is the story of David Banda. It begins in Lipunga, a village of 300 people in the hills of far western Malawi in early September of 2005. Johan and Marita Banda were expecting their 3rd child. They were anxious. Their first son, Garnet, died of malaria at 2 years and 8 months. The second, Babel, also a boy, died of an unknown illness at 18 months. Marita, aged 28, became sick. Johan borrowed a bicycle, placed her behind the trailer, and pedaled 13 miles to the nearest clinic. They expected to stay, but were sent home with medicine. However, they returned that same night. This time, the clinic arranged an ambulance. Marita spent a week in the hospital. After being discharged, she traveled to Zambia, where her parents live. David was born on September 24th, delivered by traditional birth attendants. He was healthy, but Marita was not. By the time Johan reached the village, she was fading. A disagreement delayed treatment. Relatives suggested a witch doctor, but Johan preferred a hospital. However, valuable time was lost when deciding between a hospital and a witch doctor. Eventually, the worst happened. Marita died on September 30th, 6 days after David was born. Johan was left to raise David alone. He still owed his in-laws 10,000 kwacha, around 40 pounds, as a dowry. They rejected David, so he returned to Lipunga with his newborn son and questioned how he would care for him. He worked in a tomato and onion plot, couldn't afford milk, and was scared of illness. In past years, relatives might have helped, but the spread of HIV and AIDS has broken the support system. The infection rate among adults is officially 14%, though likely higher. There are hundreds of thousands of orphans in a country of 12 million. Families are less able to take in extra children. After consulting his mother, Asianti, who also worked her garden daily, Johan met village chief Henderson Geza. Geza, age 69, understood because his grandson spent time in an orphanage after losing his mother. Johan and Geza agreed that David should go to the Home of Hope orphanage, 25 miles away. Johan, Asianti, and David traveled there by bicycle, carrying a letter from the church. David was 5 weeks old. The orphanage was complete, but a kind worker accepted him. "It was a sad day," says Asianti. "Our only comfort was that he had a better chance of living." 11 months later, Madonna, then 48, announced plans to raise $3 million to assist some of Malawi's estimated 900,000 orphans. She had homes in the United Kingdom and the United States, and a fortune nearing £250 million. She said she felt responsible for children around the world. The money would help build a home for more than 4,000 children orphaned by AIDS, finance a film about the situation in Malawi, and support a Millennium Village project in Gumulira. However, some criticize the effort for having the appearance of publicity. Madonna, who has never been to Africa, planned to visit Malawi with her husband, Guy Ritchie. His husband had already been there. Unofficially, they were planning to adopt a child. Madonna's children, Lourdes, age 10, and Rocco, age 6, were expecting a brother. Adoptions in Malawi are handled by the Ministry for Gender, Child Welfare, and Community Services. Officials are asked to select a dozen babies. David, nearly 1 year old and in good health, was on the list. Johan visited often, bringing food grown in his village. Asianti sometimes joins him. "We were close to David," Johan says. "He cried whenever I left." On October 4th, Madonna and Guy arrived in Malawi by private jet. They stayed at the Kumbali Lodge near the presidential residence and visited orphanages. A government official told the press about the adoption, but Madonna's team denied it. Against their wish, the adoption story spread. The adoption proceeded in public. A week after their arrival, the child was named David Banda. He was one of 500 children at the Home of Hope. The story gains more attention when it becomes clear that David has a living father. Before Madonna's arrival, Johan was visited in Lipunga by Penston Kalembe, Director of Social Welfare. He asked if a foreign couple could adopt David. Johan discussed it with his family. They decided to agree. They believed David would have more chances abroad. In Malawi, his prospects were limited. He might have grown into a farmer, herder, or trader. Abroad, he may become whatever he wants. To many in Malawi, the decision was not abandonment, but sacrifice. Johan believed he was acting in David's best interest. He denies claims of pressure. "It was hard," he said, "but it seemed right." Most Malawians supported his choice. Boniface Tamani of the Public Affairs Committee said it was not a story of rescue, but of giving a child a better life. He pointed out that Madonna also funded projects that helped many other children. Some suggested Madonna should have given Johan money to raise David. Others argue she had already shown a great deal. And bringing a child into one's home is no small task. Legal procedures moved quickly. A judge granted an interim order allowing Madonna and Guy to take David. The 18-month residency requirement was waived. Final adoption was confirmed after that period because welfare officials were satisfied. At the hearing, Johan met Madonna and Guy. He gave formal consent. He found them kind, and they promised David would visit in 3 or 4 years. Contrary to the goodwill of Madonna and Guy, human rights groups protested. They argued that adoption is unlike property transfer and that David couldn't express his wishes. Rafiq Hajat, a director in Blantyre, said the process was made too easy for Madonna, setting a risky example. He questioned the motives. Perhaps she is genuine, or perhaps it is about publicity. Legal opposition appeared to falter. Without support from David's family, it was unlikely that efforts to reverse the order would succeed. When lawyers visited Lipunga, Johan and Asianti turned them away. "If David comes back," they asked, "will you feed him?" Government officials admitted some mistakes but denied giving Madonna special treatment. Andrina Michiela of the Welfare Ministry said Madonna was trusted and committed. Regarding Johan's role, she said that placing David in an orphanage showed his wish for a better future. "It was like Moses in the basket. Madonna has found him." Madonna's songs played in nightclubs in Malawi, while David had reached the United Kingdom. At midday, Asianti returned from her fields. She laughed softly. "My son was poor and knew little. Now his child is with a rich and famous woman." Nearby, Johan tends his tomato plants. He wears old trousers, a yellow and blue shirt with the word Dada, and blue sandals. He looks tired but answers patiently. "I will miss David," he said. "I miss him already, but I know that it is for the best." This is the adoption story of David Banda. But many are curious how his early life unfolded under the care of Madonna. Life in the United Kingdom with Madonna. Police officers escorted the African infant being adopted by Madonna off a British Airways flight on a Tuesday morning, guiding him past a crowd of photographers. The child, David Banda, aged 1 year, had just arrived from Malawi. He was carried off the aircraft, a Boeing 747, by a woman believed to be a nanny. She covered his head with a light gray coat. 3 armed police officers, airline staff, and airport officials led the group through Heathrow Airport's Terminal 1. They moved quickly through the baggage area and exited through a back door. Outside, a silver Mercedes minivan waited. The child was placed inside. Madonna and her husband Guy Ritchie were not at the airport. David's arrival in the United Kingdom marked a sharp change from his life in Malawi. He had been flown out of the country on a private jet with a bodyguard and a nanny. The journey began at the Home of Hope orphanage in Machinji and ended in London. where he would live in Madonna's home. David's early days in the United Kingdom unfolded in an environment of wealth and care. Madonna's home, filled with her children Lourdes and Rocco, welcomed him. She included David in family activities. Photos later posted online showed him playing with the family dog, Olga, and joining them on holidays, including a skiing trip in Switzerland. In these images, David appeared to be adjusting to his new surroundings. Madonna stated her goal had always been to provide David with stability and education. The singer also pledged £1.6 million to support orphans in Malawi through her Raising Malawi initiative. She funded new buildings and medical supplies at the Home of Hope, where David had once stayed. Despite the criticism, Madonna returned David to Malawi for visits. He was able to see the place where he was born and connect with his roots. These trips were supported by his biological father, David Banda, who said Madonna had promised to bring David back to visit. Johann said he was not forced into the decision and believed the adoption was the best option for his son. Photographs of several children from the Home of Hope had been sent to Madonna. David's picture was one of them. The director of the orphanage, the Reverend Thompson Chipetta, told Johann that a Christian woman from abroad wanted to provide a home for David. Madonna, then 48, said she wanted David to grow up alongside her children, Lourdes and Rocco. Around the same time, she had pledged £3 million through the Raising Malawi charity. She worked on the project with Michael Berg, founder of the Kabbalah Center in Los Angeles. Madonna returned to Malawi to adopt a second child in 2009. During that visit, David was briefly reunited with his father. Education. David Banda's education followed a path shaped by his changing interests and mother's support. Though Madonna kept many details of his schooling private, some information about the places he attended, the years involved, and the estimated costs became known over time. His education moved between sports, theater, and music, with each stage reflecting his growth. In 2017, when David was around 11 years old, he moved with Madonna to Portugal, where he joined the Benfica Academy in Lisbon. The academy is part of the SL Benfica Football Club and is known for its youth training program. Young athletes at the academy receive both academic instruction and daily sports training. David joined the 12 team and trained there while also attending classes. His performance on the team drew attention, especially after a league win in the year 2018. He was named the best performer in his age group. The academy's cost was not public, but similar European programs typically charge between €10,000 and €30,000 annually. There are also additional yearly costs of around €2,000 to €5,000 for travel, equipment, and uniforms. David remained at the academy for about 1 to 2 years before returning to the United States when Madonna's tour plans changed. After returning to the United States, David enrolled at the Los Angeles County School for the Arts. The school is a public magnet school in California focusing on academics and the arts. It provides training in music, dance, visual arts, and theater. When David was 14, he began classes at the school in 2020. He became active in the theater department. In 2022, he performed in a school play titled She Kills Monsters. The school does not charge tuition for California residents. However, families often pay between $1,000 and $5,000 annually for supplies, costumes, instruments, and other related arts costs. David continued at the school until May of 2024 when he graduated. Madonna marked the event during her celebration tour. His time at the school helped him build confidence on stage and deepen his interest in performing arts. In 2024, after finishing high school, David moved to New York City. He began to focus more on music. Though there was no official word on the name of his new school, he appeared in photos and videos playing guitar and participating in music events. He likely enrolled in private music programs, lessons, or workshops. These programs, such as those run by the new school's Man's School of Music or private instructors in the city, usually cost between $5,000 and $20,000 annually. That amount can include one-on-one lessons, practice time, group sessions, and performances. David's involvement in music training began in mid-2024 and was still ongoing. He sometimes shared his progress through online posts. David Banda's education reflected a wide range of experience. It began with football training in Europe, moved into theater and academic work in California, and continued with private music instruction in New York. Each step was influenced by his interests and mother's effort to give him access to strong programs. The costs changed from year to year. The football academy incurred higher expenses. The high school was free, but it came with supply costs. His current studies in New York are based on private payments. From the year 2017 to the present, David moved through settings combining structure and creative expression. His schooling supported discipline and imagination, which is paying off for him today. David Banda debut modeling at Off-White's Spring Show. On Sunday, September 8, 2024, David Banda, now 19, walked the runway at New York Fashion Week. He appeared in the Off-White Spring 2025 show. The event marked his first time modeling in a significant fashion presentation. Born in Malawi and adopted as an infant by singer Madonna and filmmaker Guy Ritchie, David already performed guitar on Madonna's Celebration tour. His appearance at Fashion Week marked a new direction, following in the steps of his sister Lourdes Leon, who had modeled for Versace and Marine Serre. David wore a plaid collared vest with black pleated trousers for the show. He wore statement earrings, black glovelets, and flip-flops decorated with bottle caps. His outfit matched off-white streetwear and luxury mix. The collection was directed by Ib Kamara, who became creative lead after Virgil Abloh's death in the year 2021. The show was in New York City, the brand's first presentation. Celebrities including Camila Cabello, Suni Lee, and Issa Rae sat in the front row. Kamara described the new collection as combining African craftsmanship, American sportswear, and futuristic shapes. He said bringing the show to New York reflected Off-White's beginnings in America and its strong link with the city. The presentation focused on New York's diverse communities and international influence. David's role in the show connected those ideas with his background and stage experience. David Banda's interest in style had been known before his runway debut. In 2022, Madonna spoke on national television about her son's taste in clothes. She appeared on The Tonight Show and told the host that David once wore a replica of her 1993 Adidas dress. She added that he woefully and confidently said he sometimes wore her clothes better than hers. The story gained attention and pointed to his growing interest in fashion. David had spent years performing with his mother, learning to move confidently on stage. That experience showed during the Off-White event. His walk was steady and calm. He was part of a collection that marked a new stage for the fashion house. Off-White, founded by Virgil Abloh, returned to New York under new leadership. David's presence added a new layer to the event. It joined music, fashion, and personal history. Lourdes Leon had already built a career in modeling. David's debut followed that path. His appearance suggested that he might balance both music and fashion. His clothes in the show reflected his ability to wear designs that blended cultures and styles. His presence in the show added a new voice to the event and hinted at future work in the industry. The Off-White show stood out not only for the clothes, but also for the people involved. David Banda's presence on the runway linked his personal story with a public platform. His family's place in fashion and music shaped how he entered the space. The event added another step in his path as a performer and a model. David Banda relationships. As an adult, David is eligible to relationship and even marriage. In early January 2024, he began a relationship with Maria Atuesta, a 21-year-old model. Their bond developed during David's time on Madonna's Celebration tour, where he performed as a guitarist. The tour lasted from October 2023 to May 2024, including a final performance at Copacabana Beach in Rio de Janeiro. While David traveled with the tour, he and Maria remained in close contact, maintaining their relationship across the distance. They spoke often, and according to a source quoted by The Sun, the couple appeared fully committed. It was described as David's first serious relationship. When the tour ended, David moved back to New York City. He began living with Maria in the Bronx in May 2020. Their time together became visible through several social media posts. In June 2024, the two visited Portugal and posted images of their trip. David commented under one of Maria's pictures, saying he felt lucky to be with her. He often responded to her photos with compliments, including phrases in Spanish such as mi amor, and remarks like absolutely stunning. Maria Atuesta, born in Colombia, worked as a model signed to agencies in New York and Milan. She became a brand ambassador for OG, a clean beauty company, and worked with smaller fashion labels such as Odette and Odile. David's interest in fashion appeared to match hers. In September 2024, he walked the runway at New York Fashion Week for the Off-White Spring 2025 show. On July 20, 2024, nail artist Naomi Yasuda posted a photograph of matching manicures by David and Maria. The designs used pale yellow and baby pink polish. David's middle fingers were marked M and A. The initials matched their names. This detail was shared online, showing a small but personal gesture between them. David's home life during the celebration tour had included his siblings. In an interview with W Magazine, Madonna said she included the children who still lived with her in the tour. Lourdes, Mercy, Stella, and Esther all took part. David played guitar while others sang or danced. Madonna explained that the tour was a look back on her life and that her children had long been part of her creative world. Maria Atuesta followed David's sister Mercy on Instagram. This sign suggested that she had been welcomed into the family. By then, David had started teaching guitar lessons in New York, charging $200 per session. He continued to focus on both music and modeling. David's life in the city blended with Maria's through work, travel, and shared interests. Their relationship, marked by steady contact and quiet expressions of care, became a central part of personal life. It grew alongside his creative steps and connection to his family. To everyone, David's life is a dream. But what if he is starving in the streets, despite being the son of one of the most famous pop legends? Here is the story behind his starving star controversies. Starving star controversies. After completing high school in May 2024, David Banda, aged 19, moved to New York City. He chose to live in the Bronx and focus on building a music career. His decision followed years of playing guitar, including performances on the Celebration Tour. The performance tour had taken him across several countries, where he played on stage alongside his siblings. Those experiences strengthened his confidence and prepared him for life on his own. In the city, David began offering virtual guitar lessons through online platforms. He charged $200 per session and used the income to pay rent and meet daily needs. His approach reflected a desire to manage life independently while staying connected to music. Though his mother supported him, he took responsibility for his personal and financial decisions. At one point, David appeared in a now-deleted Instagram live video. During the stream, he joked about his situation, saying that it was interesting to be hungry at 9 o'clock in the evening, to have no money for food, and to look around the house for something to eat. Some followers misunderstood the tone of the remark. In another deleted post, David explained that he was not facing severe hardship. He said clearly that he had food and a place to stay. He also said that Madonna supported him, even as he worked toward independence. David lived with his girlfriend, a model named Maria Atuesta. The two shared a home and supported one another's creative goals. Maria had worked with fashion brands and appeared in several campaigns. David's time with her added to his stability as he adjusted to life in the city. Despite challenges, David continued to offer guitar lessons and stay active in music. His mother once spoke about his skill during an interview on a late-night program. She said David had a strong sense of rhythm and an ear for music. David relied on those strengths as he built a path forward. His life in New York combined personal discipline with creativity. By choosing to live simply and teach others, David kept his focus on music and avoided relying entirely on outside help. The relationship with Maria and the support from Madonna helped him stay grounded. Through quiet effort and daily choices, he worked to become a musician on his terms. Despite being so eager to follow his mother's creative path, David is not the only child of Madonna. She is a proud mother of 6. The Madonna family, David Banda, adopted by Madonna and Guy Ritchie from Malawi, grew up in a large and diversely family. His siblings included Lords Leon, Rocco Ritchie, Mercy James, and twins Stella and Esther Ciccone. Their lives were shaped by Madonna's global lifestyle, creative influence, and the shared bond from growing up together in the public eye. The family experienced both public attention and private moments that built their closeness. Lords Leon, born in 1996 to Madonna and Carlos Leon, was the eldest of the siblings. By the time David joined the family, Lords was already interested in performance and dance. Their bond developed during their childhood years in London and New York. One photograph from a family trip to Switzerland in 2010 showed Lords and David laughing in the snow, with Lords at around age 14 and David at about 5. Rocco Ritchie, born in 2000 to Madonna and Guy Ritchie, shared a similar upbringing with David when Madonna lived in England. A throwback photo from 2016 showed David and Rocco dressed alike, posing with the family's French bulldog named Olga. They were around 10 and 15 years old. That same closeness appeared during Madonna's 2015 Rebel Heart Tour, when both boys appeared on stage. David played the guitar, and Rocco performed a breakdance routine, a moment that showed their shared love of performing. Mercy James, adopted from Malawi in 2009 at age 4, was closest to David in age. The two formed a strong bond rooted in their shared heritage. In the year 2017, they visited the Mercy James Institute for Pediatric Surgery and Intensive Care in Blantyre. Madonna's Raising Malawi project supported the hospital. That visit, which included time spent with local children, showed David and Mercy's commitment to staying connected with their roots. At home, their sibling bond appeared in everyday moments, including a 2020 photograph where they were seen baking together, faces covered in flour, laughing as they cooked. Stella and Esther Ciccone, adopted from Malawi in 2017 at age 4, were the youngest siblings. David took on a caring and guiding role with them. In a video from the year 2018, David, then 12, taught the twins how to play guitar. One twin practiced chords while the other danced. That same energy followed them into Madonna's celebration tour in the years 2023 and 2024. David played guitar, and the twins danced alongside their siblings. At the final show in Rio de Janeiro, they all shared the stage in front of a crowd of more than 1 million people, marking a moment of family unity and shared pride. During the celebration tour, Madonna spoke to W Magazine about her choice to include her children in the production. She said that because the tour reflected her life, it made sense for her children, who had been learning music and dance for years, to be part of it. David played guitar, Lords helped with choreography, Rocco made appearances, Mercy played piano, and the twins danced. One evening in October 2023 at the O2 Arena in London, Madonna stopped the show to hug each child on stage. David appeared emotional, and the moment reflected their connection as a family. Family trips away from public view helped strengthen their relationships. In the year 2021, the family went on a safari in Kenya. David, then 15, joined his siblings in exploring the Masai Mara, learning about the wildlife. He also helped explain the animals to the younger twins. A year later, the family visited Italy in 2022. Lords and David were seen cycling through Positano, laughing as they rode through the streets. Rocco sat nearby, sketching, while the younger siblings played by the water. These quiet days away from cameras showed their ease and shared joy. Each sibling has chosen a different path, Lords in modeling, Rocco in visual arts, Mercy in music, and the twins in dance. Yet their shared childhood, family tours, and travels have kept them connected. David has remained a supportive brother, part of a family built on shared experiences, artistic lives, and quiet care for one another. David's story is about a boy who had a date with luck. His transition from an orphanage home to being the son of a pop star is a game changer for him, giving him the opportunities his father hoped for in life. Do you like his path toward independence? Let's hear from you in the comments. Thank you for watching. Kindly like and subscribe for more content from us.